everyone, it's Nicole here for Lawn Fawn today, and I have a set of 3 Valentine's goodie bags that I created with the goodie bag die, plus one of the Tag Your It dies layered, and then a whole bunch of fun critter stamps. So to create my cards, I'm first going to stamp all of my critters on some smooth white cardstock. I'm using an elephant from the Love You Tons stamp set, one of the whales from Whale You Be Mine. These are all mini stamp sets. And then a hedgehog from the Hedgehogs stamp set. Need the little blowhole that's in the shape of a heart for the whale there. There's my hedgehog from the Hedgehogs stamp set. And then that little mini heart from Hedgehogs, I'm going to stamp a bunch of those to color them in, and those are going to be accents on all the tags. Now, instead of coloring my critters in traditional colors for my little goodie bags, I decided to go with Valentine's kind of colors and ended up coloring all of them in shades of pink. You're going to see some that have some red in them. I kind of thought I would do red and pink, but after I had done a couple of them in red, I decided I did not like that. So I'm sticking to the pink colors here, and I'm using the R81, R83, and R85 Copic markers. Coloring in the image first, and then I'm going to use the dot technique here just to fill in and add a little texture to the critters. Excuse me. And then once I have all of that done and I've colored all of my images, I'm going to take a white gel pen and add some detail. I'm going to skip here to the hearts. I'm going to color in the heart very similar to the critters, where I lay down the lightest color as my base color and then add in the mid-tone and darker colors in dots to give the heart some texture. Now for these teeny tiny hearts, I am just going to color those a solid color with either the R27 or R81. And I'm using some snips to cut apart my dies here. Now, this is kind of when I realized, even though the red critters are really cute, I liked the pink critters on the gift bags better. So I'm just going to keep those critters. I can use them for another project at another time, but I did go ahead and color in the hedgehog and another whale with shades of pink instead. I think it's really fun. You can color your critters with any colors that you want to. So it's a little bit fun to take the holiday theme and then color your critters accordingly. So I've stamped another whale here, and I'm going to go ahead and color that in real quickly as well. Again, I laid down my base color, and this, you can see a little bit better here how I am applying the dot detail, layering it much like you would if you were coloring the image solid with Copics, kind of going around my edge where I want the whale to be darkest with my darkest color, and then going back over all that with my mid-tone color, filling in and pulling out even a little bit further. And then if you need to blend it all, go in with your lightest color and go over any of those areas to kind of blend out some of those dots to make them maybe not quite so prominent and a little more muted. So I've die cut all of my, or I'm die cutting all of my critters here, a little bit backwards, sorry about that. And then I'm going to set all of those aside for a second. I'm going to go ahead and die cut all of the elements I need for the goodie bags. And to do this, you can get one goodie bag out of one sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, plus have a little bit extra to put in your scrap bin. So I just trim around it, die cut it, because you need 2 of the goodie bag die cuts to create one bag. Then I flip over the die, or flip the paper over, lay the die on it. I'm going to just trim off that one end there so that I can save the scrap piece of paper. And then I'm going to run it through again to create the other half of the goodie bag. Now for this goodie bag, this is going to be a layered design. I thought it would be fun to make red and pink goodie bags. So to do that, I'm going to need to actually cut another whole goodie bag from some pink cardstock. It is kind of wasting some of the design, but I really wanted the whole top of the gift bag to be pink, not just the fronts. If I had wanted to do just the fronts, I probably wouldn't have had to die cut the whole bag. But what I'm doing is I cut the bag apart and I'm layering the side and the top together, and then using the scalloped borders die, the largest size from that trio of dies from Lawn Fawn, to create a scallop top for the goodie bag. So I'll do that again. I'm going to take my other half of the bag now. This could maybe be, the back side. I'm going to cut apart the goodie bag so that I can lay the front of the goodie bag or back, whichever it is, and the side together. And then I'm using the one I've already cut because I want it to be even all the way around, and I'm using that one as a guide. Using a little Post-it tape, layering my die there. Need to move my Post-it tape down a little bit, and then I can just move that out of the way and go ahead and die cut that. So essentially I'm die cutting this side of the bag and the front or back of the bag at the same time. Now while I have my die cutting machine out, I am going to go ahead and die cut a couple of tags here from some pattern paper. This is just a light gray pattern paper with a teeny tiny white polka dot. You're not going to see a ton of it, but it's going to be back behind a vellum tag. And I like to do as much die cutting with when I have my die cutting machine in front of me as possible. Then I'm going to die cut the whole reinforcers out of one of those scrap pieces of red cardstock that I had left over from the goodie bag. Just a nice detail to complete the tags that are going to be hanging from this goodie bag. I'm using a piercing tool to pop out those little pieces. They sometimes get stuck inside of the dies. So you can either use maybe a straight pin or something like that. I usually use a piercing tool if I have it handy. Next, before I assemble the bag, anything you want to stamp on the bag you need to do at this point while it's still flat. So I use the powder tool because I'm going to do a little embossing. I want my greetings to be bright, crisp white. Stamp that with Versamark ink and then sprinkle on some white embossing powder. I'm going to do that for my 2 remaining gift bags. I've already made one of them, so I'll just show you these 2 examples here. I did the Sending Hedgehogs, and now I'll do Will You Be Mine. I love the little play on words, especially for a Valentine's themed project like this. Go ahead and add some white embossing powder to this one as well, and then I will heat set both of those. Once the stamping is complete, this is when you can start assembling the bag. So while it's still flat, I'm going to take that scallop edge I created for the top of the bag and go ahead and attach that right there. Then I'm going to take a bone folder, and this is a Teflon bone folder, which doesn't leave any of those marks or anything on your paper. It's a great bone folder. I love it. I'm going to make sure all of those creases, those score lines that you can see there from the die, are nice and crisp. It will really help when assembling the bag. Then I'm going to take those side panels that I die cut, go ahead and score those as well, add some adhesive. Make sure I'm adding strong adhesive. You want to use a strong adhesive when you're assembling a 3D project like this because you don't want it to pop apart. And then lay that on the side, and I'm going to go ahead and assemble this 1/2 of the goodie bag. Then I'll just lay that aside for a second, grab the back of the goodie bag, and do the exact same thing. I'm going to attach the pink scallop over the red goodie bag, use the bone folder to score all of those score lines really, really good so that it folds together nicely. Take the side panel, do the exact same thing. I'm going to fold all of that again, use my bone folder, then take that strong adhesive and adhere it to this side of the bag. That way, that pink scallop border goes all the way around the bag. You wouldn't have to do that. You could just do the front and back panels if you didn't want to bother with the side panels, but I really think when the bag is open, it looks really cute and finished. Then I'm going to simply attach the front to the back of the bag. Make sure I'll press those sides really good. Once I have them all lined up, I like to squeeze the bag together to make sure that that adhesive is really stuck there good. Then I can set that aside, go ahead and make my other one. I have one more stamping portion for the goodie bag to do, and that's the vellum overlay tag. And I'm going to take my stamp here and stamp those on some vellum using Versamark ink. I used the powder tool first. It helps keep the embossing powder just to the stamped image and not anywhere else, so it looks nice and crisp. Then I'll apply the embossing powder and I will heat set that. Then I'm going to have to grab my die cutting machine again and die cut these tags. So I'll do that real quick, lay those tags in place. I like to use a little Post-it tape, even if you're using the magnetic platform. Sometimes your cutting plates can get warped or whatever, and I like to use some Post-it tape so that it doesn't ruin any of the stamping. I'm going to go ahead and take my critters and some glue dots and attach those to the vellum tags. For any of the small pieces, like these small little teeny tiny hearts that I stamped, colored, and die cut, they are so small that even really the bling glue dots won't work very well. So I like to use a little zig glue pen, and I'm using the quick stick tool to place those right where I want them to go. I can use the other end to kind of move it around if I didn't get it exactly where I wanted it. I'll also use the zig glue pen to draw a little glue around the hole in the tag and adhere the hole reinforcement there at the top. I think the hole reinforcement adds a nice finishing touch to the tags. So I'm wiping off a little glue there. I made a little bit of a mess, but get that wiped up. I'm going to layer the vellum tag then after I get this hole reinforcement in place. I'll layer this tag on top of the pattern paper one that I die cut earlier. While this is drying, I am going to wrap a little bit of the Sweethearts Lawn Trimmings twine around the top of the bag. I'll just loop it through a couple of times to secure the bag and keep it closed. I will thread those tags onto this then, and then just simply tie it into a bow, and that will finish the goodie bags. So just a really fun way to create some fun gift packaging for small Valentine's gifts. Before I finish these, I did take the Wink of Stella clear glitter pen and add a little bit of glitter to those little teeny tiny hearts. For more information on how I created these goodie bags, please visit my blog or the Lawn Fawn blog. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.